is the Zodiac speaking.
The Zodiac Killer, one of the most infamous and elusive serial killers of all time, whose deeds have been compared to Jack the Ripper. But who is the Zodiac Killer? How did he murder his victims, and why is his true identity still a mystery? The Zodiac Killer is the unidentified serial killer who terrorized Northern California from the mid-1960s through the 1970s. He targeted young couples and a lone cab driver in rural, urban, and suburban areas of Northern California. He also taunted the authorities and media with cryptic letters. The killer even named himself the Zodiac in one of his taunting letters. It was the perfect summer day, and high school seniors Robert Domingo and Linda Edwards decided to use their senior ditch day to hang out on the beach at Gaviota State Park. The next day, Robert's father became concerned when the couple didn't return home and went to the beach they said they were going to. Upon arrival, he discovered a horrific scene. Robert and Linda's bodies were lying together, bound inside a crumbling shack close to the beach. Both had been shot and killed with a .22 caliber gun. Robert had been shot 11 times and Linda 9 times. It appeared the killer shot them before dragging their bodies to the shack, where he tried and failed to start a fire. At first, investigators had very few leads, but in 1972, the Santa Barbara County Sheriffs announced the possible connection with other Zodiac Killer murders. The killer had used the same ammunition as other Zodiac murders, as well as other similarities. This was just the beginning of the murder spree. Cherry Josephine Bates, 18, was living with her father while attending Riverside City College. On October 30th, 1966, she left a note for her father saying she was going to the library. The next day, her vehicle was found abandoned in the parking lot and her body between two houses. Cherry had been stabbed several times and her throat slashed. During the investigation, police found a man's Timex watch and a boot print from a military-type boot, as well as some hairs in the dried-up blood on her hand. Her purse was still intact, nothing missing, and the autopsy revealed no signs of sexual assault. About a month later, a typewritten confession letter was received at the local newspaper and police department from someone claiming to be her killer. In the letter, the author wrote,
Miss Bates was stupid. She went to slaughter like a lamb.
In April 1967, her father, Joseph Bates, and the police and newspaper received a handwritten letter saying,
Bates had to die. There will be more.
All 3 letters were signed the same, with a symbol that resembled the letter Z. In 1969, Riverside police contacted investigators on the Zodiac case regarding similarities between the crimes. Their documents examiner concluded that the letter received on the Bates case was in fact written by the Zodiac. After reporter Paul Avery revealed to the public about the Riverside connection with the Zodiac, a letter was received at the Los Angeles Times, confirming detectives' theory that he was connected to the Bates murder.
I have to give them credit for stumbling across my Riverside activity, but they are only finding the easy ones. There are a hell of a lot more down there.
Riverside police then started rejecting the theory, instead focusing their investigation on a jilted lover of cherries. In the late 1990s, police obtained a DNA sample from their suspect, who continued to deny involvement with the murder. It came back not a match. Just before Christmas, Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday went out on their first date together, promising that Betty Lou would be home by 11 p.m. Before taking her home for the night, David parked his mother's car in a gravel turnabout, which was a well-known lover's lane. Shortly after 11 p.m., police responded to a suspicious car parked there and discovered Betty Lou and David's lifeless bodies on the side of the road. Betty Lou was dead on arrival with 5 bullet wounds to her back. David was found still breathing but near death with a bullet wound to his head. Another bullet hole found in the car's roof and back window indicated the killer may have fired warning shots to force his victims from the car. Shell casings recovered from the scene indicated that the killer used a .22 caliber pistol. At first, investigators believed the 2 teens were random targets killed by a stranger for unknown reasons. That would soon change. Darlene Farren, 22, was a wife, mother, and popular waitress at Faraday restaurant. That evening, she went to pick up a friend, Michael Marydel, and the couple stopped for a while in a parking lot of Blue Rock Springs Park. Around midnight, a suspicious-looking vehicle pulled into the same parking lot, then left, only to return a few minutes later. The driver then got out of the car, shining a bright light into the car Darlene and Michael were in. He fired his gun. Michael was shot in the jaw, shoulder, and leg. Darlene was also hit several times. Both were still alive when the police arrived, but Darlene later died at the hospital. Around 12:40 a.m., police dispatch received a call that was later traced to a gas station payphone. The caller claimed responsibility for the shooting, as well as the murders that past Christmas. According to police dispatch, the caller spoke in low, monotonous voice.
I want to report a murder. If you go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway, you will find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye.
July 31st, 1969. The letter to Vallejo Times-Herald was received. In the letter, the writer claimed to be responsible for the 2 shootings, even provided details about the victims, weapons used, the number of shots fired, and the brand of ammunition used. On the same day, 3 other letters were received by other newspapers. The San Francisco Chronicle letter was one of 3 almost identical letters sent that contained 1/3 of a cipher. The writer demanded the letter and the cipher be published by August 1st. In the letter to the San Francisco Examiner, which also contained 1/3 of the cipher, the writer threatened to kill again if the newspapers didn't publish the cipher. On August 4th, 1969, a 4th letter was received by the Examiner in response to the police asking for more information to prove the writer committed the murders. This was the first time the writer used the name the Zodiac. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were relaxing by Lake Berryessa, about 30 miles north of Napa, California, when a man appeared to them, holding a gun and wearing a hooded costume that had a white cross circle stitched on the chest. The man told the couple he had just escaped from prison and needed money and a car to escape to Mexico. He bound their wrists with plastic clothesline, then, without warning, stabbed a knife into Brian's back 6 times. As Cecilia fought for her life, the killer stabbed her 10 times and then walked to Brian's car. Using a pen, he drew a crossed circle on the door with the dates and locations of previous attacks, then proceeded to write September 27, 69, 6:30, by knife. Around 7:40 p.m., a man called Napa Police Department to report a double murder. He described Brian's car and directed the police to the scene. He then confessed,
"I am the one who did it."
Police were able to trace the car to a Napa car wash payphone. Brian survived the attack, but Cecilia died 2 days later. "28-year-old student, father, and cab driver Paul Stein picked up a fare that was headed for Presidio Heights neighborhood. At the intersection of Washington and Cherry Streets, the passenger shot Paul in the head and removed a piece of his shirt. Witnesses reported seeing the killer walk away from the vehicle, but the police mixed up the description of the man, describing him as a black man. So officers dismissed the white man who matched the correct description they questioned at the scene. Fingerprints were retrieved from the cab and a sketch was produced based on the descriptions from the witnesses. The case was considered a robbery until the San Francisco Chronicle received a letter from the Zodiac, postmarked October 13, 1969.
"I am the murderer of the taxi driver."
Enclosed in the envelope was the blood-stained piece of Paul's shirt. The writer then went on to mock the police for failing to catch him and even threatened to shoot children on a school bus. On November 8, 1969, the Chronicle received an envelope also containing another piece of Paul's shirt. It also had a humorous greeting card and another cipher, consisting of 340 symbols. The writer also added a possible reference to more victims. Deaths: July, August, September, October equals 7. Then, on November 9, 1969, the Chronicle received the longest letter from the Zodiac yet. In the letter, the writer claimed that the police stopped him near the crime scene, but let him go. The letter also included a bomb recipe and a diagram of the explosive. A letter addressed to attorney Melvin Belly, postmarked December 20th, 1969, was received. In it, the writer feared he would kill again and asked Melvin to intercede.
"Please help me. I cannot remain in control for much longer."
Pregnant Kathleen Jones, 22, and her baby daughter were driving from San Bernardino, California, north to Petaluma, California, to visit her sick mother. While traveling Highway 132 near Modesto, another vehicle pulled up alongside of her, signaling her to pull over. When she pulled over to the side of the road, the other driver informed her that her back wheel was loose and that he would try to fix it. Instead of fixing it, he evidently loosened the lug nuts, so when Kathleen tried to drive away, the entire wheel fell off. The man then offered to drive her to a gas station. When she got into his car, it appeared he had other plans. Kathleen claimed that the man made veiled threats about harming her baby daughter. At that point, she knew she had to get away, so she grabbed her baby and jumped from the vehicle. Another driver passing by took Kathleen and her baby to the nearby police station, where she identified the man from the police sketch of the Zodiac. Several months later, the Zodiac mentioned a rather interesting ride he had with a woman and her baby. On April 20th, 1970, the Chronicle received another letter from the Zodiac that included a 13-symbol cipher and a diagram of a bomb designed to kill children on a bus. He also denied responsibility for a recent police station bombing. A greeting card was then received by the Chronicle, postmarked June 26, 1970, which contained a map of the San Francisco Bay Area with a cross circle on the peak of Mount Diablo, and a code to locate his bomb, claiming he killed again. And yet another letter to the Chronicle, postmarked July 24, 1970, he complained that people were not wearing his cross-circle Zodiac buttons. He also claimed responsibility for the failed abduction of the pregnant Kathleen and her daughter on March 22, 1970. In the 5-page letter he also sent to the Chronicle, postmarked July 26, 1970, the Zodiac described torturing victims and even quoted from the Gilbert and Sullivan musical, The Mikado. The letter also explained the Mount Diablo Code. A postcard, believed to also be from the Zodiac, was received, which had an advertisement for a condo project in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Phrases on it said, "Past Lake Tahoe, Salt Victim 12. Many people thought the message was a clue to the disappearance of 25-year-old Donna Lass. Donna had moved to Lake Tahoe from San Francisco recently and was working as a nurse at the Sahara Hotel and Casino. On September 6, 1970, Donna disappeared after her last log entry at 1:50 a.m. Her car was found abandoned close to her apartment. According to her landlord and employer, an unidentified man called, informing them that she had to leave town for a family emergency. Donna's family informed the authorities there was no such emergency. Investigators believe Donna had been abducted and killed, but her body was never found. The disappearance of Donna Lass remained a mystery, and her name was added to the Zodiac list of victims. On October 15, 1970, another postcard was received. The message was constructed with text clips from other sources, just like the one from Lake Tahoe. The words, "The pace isn't any slower. In fact, it's just one big," were found to be clipped from the comic strip Smidgens. Paul Avery, reporter from the Chronicle, received a Halloween card, postmarked October 27, 1970. In the letter with it, the writer misspelled Avery's name as Averly, and the number 14 was believed to be in reference to an unidentified 14th victim. In a letter addressed to the Los Angeles Times, postmarked March 13, 1971, the Zodiac claimed he was responsible for the unsolved murder of Cherry Bates in Riverside on October 30, 1966, making her the first official murder victim of the Zodiac. In another postcard sent to Paul Avery, postmarked March 22, 1971, which his name was again misspelled, the phrase "Salt Victim 12" matched the Lake Tahoe postcard and was believed to confirm the disappearance of Donna Lass. Then, suddenly things were quiet from the Zodiac. As the search for the Zodiac killer continued, the trail led across the U.S., all the way to Albany, New York, where the Albany Times-Union received an envelope postmarked August 1st, 1973, with a cross circle drawn on it. The letter read,
"You were wrong. I am not dead or in the hospital. I am alive and well, and I am going to start killing again. Below is the name and location of my next victim. But you had better hurry, because I'm going to kill her August 10th at 5 p.m. when the shift change. Albany is a nice town."
Below the message was another coded message. FBI deciphered the code and it said, "Albany Medical Center. This is only the beginning." Investigators were unable to identify any murders related to the reference, and handwriting experts couldn't determine if the letter was definitely prepared by the Zodiac. The Zodiac killer then remained quiet until February 14, 1974, when what is believed to be the final letter was received at the Chronicle. The letter praised The Exorcist movie as the best satirical comedy he had ever seen. The letter also included verses from the Mikado again, and an unusual symbol at the bottom that researchers still don't understand. He concluded the letter with a new score. Me equals 37, SFPD equals 0. Other letters were received later by news media, some containing similar characteristics to the Zodiac's previous letters, but they were never confirmed. A letter to the Chronicle, postmarked February 14, 1974, informed the editor that the initials for the Symbionese Liberation Army, SLA, which was a group of militant urban guerrillas, actually spelled out an Old Norse word meaning kill. It was signed a friend. Specialists were unable to verify the handwriting as the Zodiac's. Several more letters arrived through the years, all either unconfirmed as coming from the Zodiac killer or proved a hoax. For more than 50 years now, law enforcement and amateur detectives have searched for the true identity of the Zodiac killer, never able to make an arrest. It seems the killer just vanished without a trace. So who could be the real Zodiac killer? We want to give a special shout out to our member, Wheezy TJ. Thank you.